Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. Today is a weekend, so hopefully I can make more than one episode. It's actually already pretty late. Well, not really late, it's like 3 p.m. But I was waking up at what? I think I woke up really early in the morning, about 5:30, ate my breakfast, lays around in bed, and then I went to bed again. Right now, I'm currently... Well, I'm not really playing any visual novel on the side other than this one. Maybe I'm trying to find like a Japanese one that I want to play again after Chrono Box, because that one was pretty good. But reading Japanese only ones, what is it? Really stagnates how I read, or not stagnates, what's the word? It really slowens how I read. Like, I read super fast usually, but when I read Japanese stuff, it cuts my reading time by half. Sorry, cutting I think is not the right word, but it increases it. Alright, let's continue though. Last time, I think we were doing some stuff with Amane and Makina. Like I said, I do still think this game has the preferential treatment to Amane for the most part. Yeah, sure, there are a lot of scenes with all the other girls too. But I do notice that they have a lot more with Amane, at least so far, at the beginning. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same at the end. I don't really remember too much. But alright, let's continue. Just like at any other school, the start of a recess period here means that someone runs off to buy drinks for the group. There was a similar system at my previous school, so the event itself is familiar. The fact that our designated gopher puts on a mate uniform for the task, on the other hand, is still going to take some getting used to.
それではお飲み物のご注文を承ります。なんかいつも悪いわね。じゃあ私は冷たい緑茶で。いえ、自分の分を買いに行くついでですから。天音さんは冷たい緑茶ですね。かしこまりました。じゃあ、私はミルクティーね。はい、みちる様はミルクティーで承りました。
I was gonna say, if you really feel bad about it, don't ask her to actually get you stuff.
私はレモンティーを。はい、いつもの無糖のもので。かしこまりました。風見さんは何になさいますか？
What's available?
はい、大抵のものは何でも取り揃えてございます。
In that case, I'll have university. Are you serious? Is that just a pun? God damn it. I don't know what the word is in Japanese though, but that's definitely a pun that they try to localize. Thought I'd keep the tea combo going.
いや、ねえからそんなお茶。
Hold the gum syrup.
ねえっつってんだろ。なあ。ユニバーシティ？ねえ、さっちゃん。そうやって何でも理解しようと努力するのはあんたのいいところでもあり、悪いところよ。
Okay, so I guess it is university that he's saying, but just in English.
ユージも、さっちゃんは真面目なんだからさ、変な冗談で混乱させないの。私はシンクロニシティで。ほら見なさい、頭の悪い子が真似してるじゃないのよ。
True, my bad. But when you offer me anything, I think it's only natural to want to explore the limits. Okay then, I'll go with water. Make mine non-carbonated.
炭酸抜きですか？要は普通のミネラルウォーターでしょ？はい、それならわかります。マキちゃんは？じゃあ私は牛乳を。炭酸抜きで。いや、最初から入ってねえし。つか、なんでちょっとかっこよく言おうとした？今。
Gotta say, the comedy in this game is so stupid.
お兄ちゃんの真似。問題ない。
I don't know what that was. I think that was a Twitch thing. Sorry about that.
モノマネは微妙だし、言ってることがむちゃくちゃだし、どこから突っ込むべき？
Why did glare in my direction?
あんたのせいでしょが。 とつまり普通の牛乳でいいのかな？
一番うまいの買ってきて。
わかった。それじゃあ一番美味しいの買ってくるね。
With those words, Sachi picks up the hem of her skirt and bows to us, then quietly leaves the classroom.
まったくもう、最近のマキナってば何でもユージの真似したがるのよね。まあこの子は昔から人の影響を受けやすいからね。ぶっちゃけ口が悪いのだってあまねからの伝染だし。私別に口悪くないもん。ただ思ったことは口にする、不満を溜め込まないタイプってだけで。
だからそれが悪影響を生んでいると言っているのではなくて、まあそれほど悪いことだとは思わないけれど。
まあね、ここに来た当時のことを思えば確かに今の方がまだマシなのかしらね。
You know, I do wish that they kinda explored this a lot more than just telling you from like these guys' perspective. Like I would want to see when Makina was depressed. I want to see when Amane was depressed. Instead, when we came here, people were mostly already a bit too friendly to each other. I don't know, in my eyes, I kind of prefer it that way. Like when you see people that are, you know, they don't fake this stuff that they're feeling. But who's to say that they're faking what they're feeling right now? I don't know. But it would have been a lot more interesting to see their anguish and stuff like that. What? Was the girl even worse when she arrived here?
そんなことはないのよ。ただなんつうか
昔はもっとおとなしかったっていうか、それこそ借りてきた猫みたいに誰にも懐かなかったし、誰とも喋らないでずっと一人でお人形遊びしてるような子だったのよ。
もう昔の話はもうええがな。
Anyone has a thing or two in their past they don't want others to know about. And if you're attending a school like this, merely touching on a subject is probably enough to make some old wounds ache. There seems to be an established principle of mutual restraint when it comes to these sore spots. Our conversation shifts fairly smoothly away from the details.
結局何が言いたいかっていうと、昔の触れたら壊れそうなマキナに比べれば今の方がマシってことなのよ。
自分じゃあんまり変わってないつもりなんだけどな。
そう？最近はお豆腐も食べるようになったじゃない。豆腐？ほら、この子ってばひどい偏食家でしょ。気に入ったものしか食べないっていうか、果物とパンしか食べないような子だったのに、最近は何でも食べるようになったじゃない。
だってお兄ちゃんが。
Having favorite foods is fine, but don't reject something you haven't tried. At least eat some before you decide to hate it.
って言うんだもの。
My dad also said the same thing, though I don't know. I think it's more hypocrisy than anything. Now that I'm well, I'm not really an adult yet, I'd say. My mentality is that I'm still a young adult. But now that I'm older, at least now I can see just how much hypocrisy all these people that are older than me are talking when they say shit like that. I eat a lot of stuff that I normally didn't eat when I was a kid. Sure, I had to have my dad tell it to me or my siblings, right? But as I grew up and I grew older, I'm starting to see just how hypocritical it was of them to say that to me, and then I see my brother not eating his vegetables. I see my dad not eating the meats that he doesn't like. Like, what the fuck? Are you serious? So much hypocrisy in this world, even in your own family. Experience is the most useful possible form of knowledge, a precious privilege, reserved for those who manage to stay alive. Sometimes, the most instructive and memorable lessons of all come from the depths of your comrades. Yeah, I don't know about that, Yuji. That seems like a big leap of logic. But I wasn't trying to preach to Makina or make any complicated argument about her values. I just wanted to get across that ignorance isn't something you should cling to proudly. You're only embarrassing yourself when you insist that you hate some food you've never eaten.
食わず嫌いがなくなるのは正直ありがたいけど、どうにもおかしなところまでユージに似ていくのはどうなんだろう。
For example,
だから言葉遣いだってば、なんか最近のマキナ少し言葉遣いが横柄っていうかやけに尊大なのよね。誰に似たのかしら。
you're blaming me?
だって他にいないもの。
Hey Machina, seems you've been coming off as a little arrogant lately. Better watch your step, got it?
心得た。
いや、だからそれがダメだっつってんじゃん。
なんだとこの野郎。
なんで喧嘩腰よ。
まあこの子が他人の影響を受けやすいのは今に始まったことではないし、ポジティブな面を考慮すれば何でもかんでも押さえつけるのは良くないと思うけど。
See, Yumiko got the right mindset for this.
たまにいいこと言うのよさ。やっぱ押し付けられる息苦しさを知ってる女は言うことが違うのよさ。さすがだね、よしこ。
誰がよしこよ。私は由美子。勝手に「ゆ」を省略した上に読み方を変えないで。
そんなに怒ること？
なんとかこういいところだけ真似させるってできないのかしらね。
Yeah, you say that, Amane, but it's not easy imitating good habits, you know? I think the problem's with the sample she's working off, to be honest.
あんたがそれを言う？
今の私がこうして元気でいるのもみんなのおかげなのよ。あまねえからは無駄な明るさを学んで、ゆみちゃんからは本を楽しむことを通じて学ぶってことを教わったし、さっちんからは努力とか簡単に諦めない心ってのを学んだし、お兄ちゃんからは生きるための強さ、なんかそんなのを学んだのよさ。今んとこ学ぶところのないのはチルチルぐらいなのよ。
ちょっとそれどういうことかな。学びなさいよ、あたしからも。ツンデレとか。
何のためにっていうか、何のとこが。
素でポカンとしながらあたしの生き様全否定するのやめてもらえる？
大丈夫、ちゃんとチルチルからも学んでるのよ、反面教師として。
Exactly, Machina.
何よそれ。やっぱあんたあたしのことバカにしてんでしょ。
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a bad example, as long as you're not really a bad example.
でも好き。
I actually used to think that it's somewhat a necessity for there to be bad examples, and I actually accepted that I was one of them too. It's not really a good way of thinking though. If you think that way, there's no way you're going to improve yourself. It's only that you're accepting your faults. Yeah, that's a good thing and all, but you also have to improve those faults, you know? You don't want to stay that way forever.
はあ？チルチルのこと大好きだよ。だから大丈夫。
あ、そうなんかよくわかんないけど、そうなの？
どう？散々バカにしておいて最後に好きって言って全部チャラにすんの。これってツンデレ？
あんたやっぱムカつく。
でも好きなのは嘘じゃないのよ。チルチル一緒にいると面白いし、バカだけど。
サイですか。それよくざんした。どうもありがとね。もうバカって言うな。バカって言う子がバカなんだからね。
Oops, the break's already over.
あれ、さっちゃん遅いわね。何かトラブルでもあったのかしら。
電話してみればいいのではなくて。
もしもし、さっちゃん今どこにいるの？駅のホーム？何してんのそんなとこで。はあ？北海道？なんで？ちょっといいから絞りたてとかそこまでしないでいいから。
What's this? What happened?
なんかさっちゃん 一番美味しい牛乳を手に入れるとか言って北海道まで行って自分で牛乳絞ってくるって。
Yeah, that is pretty dumb, damn it. That woman's devotion knows no limits.
とにかく今すぐ戻ってきて。は？飛行機のチケット？そんなの空席待ちとかしないでいいからね。北海道まで行かなくてもスーパーに行けば北海道って書いてある牛乳売ってるからそれ買って帰ってきてね。
Okay, I think I might have been right about this one. Makina's personality getting warped might have been inevitable, considering the references she's working from here. Well, not to say that I'm any exception. I had assumed the job of a principal mainly involved counting your school's money, then begging for more. That and signing off on paperwork you haven't really read. And judging from the way Chizuru has the free time to call me in to chat for no particular reason, even going so far as to make the tea herself, my guess may not have been that far off the mark. But well, even if that's the truth of the matter, pointing it out would no doubt hurt the woman's self-esteem. A good man knows when to keep his trap shut, as my master put it.
それでどうかしら？もう学園には慣れた？
Yeah, I don't think I'm a good man though, Yuji. Nor am I a good person, for that matter. Not in the least.
何か不便でも？足りないものがあるのなら申請してくれれば。
That's not what I meant. I don't know. It sort of feels like I'm just playing a student for some undercover operation. Can't quite settle down.
そう？旗で見ている分には楽しそうにしているように見えるけど。
Well, I won't deny that, but sometimes I'll catch a glimpse of myself smiling in a pane of glass and just flinch. It's like I'm looking at someone else. It feels awkward. I just want to ask that guy, "What's so funny, asshole? Who do you think you are?" And before I know it, the smile's fallen right off my face.
そういうもの？
Alright, here's a simple analogy. You know when you're having you're having sex in a hotel and get a look at yourself going at it in the mirror and you're just like, "What are you, a monkey?" The whole thing seems ridiculous, right? Same deal.
余計にわかりにくいわよ。
I don't think that's weird at all. When you're doing something stupid and then you have a mirror right in front of you, it's really easy to spot that you're doing something that you don't think you'd enjoy, maybe? Or like when you think of yourself objectively or try to judge yourself objectively, right? Really? Okay then, let's try this one. This guy I knew told me a story about the time his parents caught him screwing a pillow in the middle of the night, okay? In that moment, cursing his own idiocy, he longed for the release of death. I think that sense of shame might be somewhat similar.
そのお友達の話、まだ続くの？
I don't know why you're particularly curious about that one. Not really. How do we get on this topic anyway?
話を元に戻しても？
Feel free.
あなたの事情はそれなりに理解しているつもりだけれど、私からはそのうちになれるわよとしか言いようがないわね。今この学園にいるあの子たちだって学園に来た当初はみんなあなたと同じようなことを言っていたわ。
So they've all got their own circumstances, huh? Figured as much.
あなたがそうであるようにこの学園にいる子たちも様々な事情があってこの学園に来たのよ。そもそもこの学園が設立された理由もその辺の事情が少なからず関係しているわ。この学園に学生が6人しかいないのもまずはテストケースとしての運用という側面があるからなの。
But the nature of these circumstances isn't made clear to any of the other students, or so it would seem.
学生どころか講師にすらその辺の詳細な事情は伝わっていません。迂闊に手を出すこともできないようなデリケートな事情を抱えた子もいれば、ことが公になれば日常生活に大きな支障をきたす子もいます。例えばあなたのようにね。学園の方針としては学生の自助努力というか、問題を抱えた学生を集めることによって学生同士で心のケアを行い自然治癒力を高めるというか。
Yeah, that's like looking at it from a positive perspective. In other words, you throw a bunch of losers together in the hope they'll lick each other's wounds.
そういう言い方は語弊があります。
I don't know, I think that's pretty accurate.
あくまでも上からの押さえつけではなく、学生同士のつながりに重点を置いた教育を目指しているのであって。
See, nothing wrong with what Yuji just said though. Sounds pretty when you put it that way, but basically, you gather a bunch of rich kids who couldn't handle regular school, raked in a ton of donations from people with a guilty conscience about how their children turned out, then made up an excuse about healing in their own time, when no one improved no matter how much money you threw at the problem.
まあ、なんて人聞きの悪い。
I mean, it's been a year, right, Chizuru? Has there any been progress towards the, the healing towards these children of yours? I don't think there is. Well, maybe a tiny bit.
確かに榊さんやイリスさんの家からは少なからぬ助成を受けていますが、あくまでも規定の範囲です。今は学生の絶対数が不足しているがゆえに、確固の負担が大きく割高感が強いというだけで、それに民間資本である以上、ある程度の資金運用は。
Ah, my bad. Let's stop talking about money. Whether I'm right or not, this is just going to lead to a lot of outraged self-defense. And wherever the money's coming from, it's covering my free tuition, so I hardly have the right to criticize.
どこまで話したかしら。
Why did you call me here in the first place?
別に何か特別な理由があって呼び出したわけじゃないわ。ただ単純にこの学園での生活に何か不都合があれば聞いておこうって。ただそれだけの話なの。
Like I said, there's no real problems. Just can't get used to this yet.
でもお友達はできたでしょ。うまくやっていけそう。
With some more than others, as you know, I'm not the most sociable human being. And thanks to my master's influence, I've got a bit of a sarcastic streak. Does lead to some misunderstandings. I guess you could say I've run into some minor communication problems.
警備かしら。私にはかなり歪んでいるように見えるのだけれど。
What do you expect in a school that was founded to collect warped people and fix them? Or maybe to sweep them under the rug, whichever. Beating the flaws out of a warped sheet of iron, gathering the failed works and stuffing them in some dark closet. This place is more like a metal shop than a school.
どうしてあなたと話しているといつもこうなってしまうのかしら。
I mean, I think Yuji is very understanding and accepting about how he is, right? And unlike most of people that are here, I don't know what the others are feeling. I think Yuji does want to be healed from what he's feeling, at least. The first step towards, progress is accepting that you have a problem in the first place. And I think Yuji has a very good grasp on that. Didn't I just tell you? I have some issues with communication. I guess you might have been hoping that adding a truly twisted individual like myself would offset the others' warping and get them back on track. But apparently it hasn't worked out too well.
あなたがどう思うと勝手だけれど、私はそういった目論みがあってあなたをこの学園に招き入れたわけではないわ。それだけは疑わないでほしいのだけれど。
Then why did you? Gratitude toward the person who saved your life, is it?
そういうこと。
It was a coincidence that I was the one who saved you, and I was acting on orders.
でも、あなたでなければ、ああはうまくいかなかったと説明されたわよ。あなたがいなければ、私は今ここでこうしてのんきにお茶を飲んでいることもなかった。違う？
That's just something you arbitrarily convince yourself of. And not to repeat myself, but I didn't save you for any special reason.
勝手で結構。私はね、人に借りを作ったままというのが嫌いなの。それとも何か別のお礼が良かったかしら？
That's fair. No, you've done more than enough.
確かに、あなたの思っていた普通の学園とは少し違うかもしれないし、クラスメートに変わった子が多いのは認めるけれど、それでも私にはこれが精一杯なの。ごめんなさい。
Not a problem. Not that I buy every word coming out of the principal's mouth, but when you get down to it, a place like this is probably just about right for someone with circumstances like mine. Tossing the likes of me into a run-of-the-mill school wasn't a great idea to begin with. Pushing my way into a crowd of people with completely different values probably would have made for a tense and irritating experience. Alright then, are we done here?
そうね。何か不満があったらいつでも言って。すべてに対処するとは言えないけれど、善処はします。
Got it.
そうそう。ついでに聞いておきたいのだけれど。
What is it?
あなたから見た他の子たちってどんな感じかしら。
My thoughts?
別に難しい話ではなくて、なんていうのかしら。あなたから見たあの子たちの初見？例えば、あなたから見た榊さんはどんな子に見えるのかしら。
Sakaki, huh? I haven't known her for that long, and honestly, I can't say that I have a particularly firm read on her. And to be perfectly frank, this is the woman who starts slashing at me with a box cutter out of nowhere. I can't say that I'm eager to get deeply involved with her. Alright, these are just my impressions. If you put it nicely, she's a rational type that doesn't waste her time. Put it harshly, and she's just apathetic. Unless it's blocking her way, the girl's not going to bother picking up something that falls down. That's how she comes off, at least. That applies to her relationship with others as well. Sakaki seems to avoid getting involved with someone unless she absolutely has to. She will respond when you talk to her, but rarely joins the conversation otherwise. I guess you could interpret her quietness as an attempt to avoid hostility or attempts at intimacy from others, but I think it's partly that she simply doesn't understand how to build relationships of mutual trust. And if someone else tries to bridge that gap, she'll take it as an intrusion on her territory and violently rejects them. I think those are the major points. I've been consciously trying not to be too pushy or intrusive with her, but well, I haven't gotten that far.
なるほど。じゃあ、松島さんは？
See, like, as much as, I don't know, the more I think about it, the more that these people that are here are actually not all that weird. You know, they say they have their circumstances, but I don't know, the more I think about it, like, I'm from a psychological major, right? Yeah, sure, I dropped out near the end. But I know I at least have a very firm grasp about how psychology works. And if you think about it in that way, these people that have psychological problems, at the end of the day, are they at all that different from the average people? I don't think so. Unless you have a very unstable mentality. I guess for the most part, we act and our personalities are mostly at the same, like somewhat of the same template. Michiru, huh? The girls offer a rocker. But then again, these people are not what I'd call people that have too much of a psychological issues. I mean, it's not delved with yet, or we're not at the point where we can see what the trigger is. But I have read some more stories where the people are just a lot more fucked up in the head. And it is interesting when you see those type of people. These ones, I feel like, as much as the game is promoting how these girls have psychological issues, it's not that bad. They're actually very, very good at handling themselves. Like, I do feel like the personalities of these guys are pretty strong. That's why they can come back this way. They're not like mentally broken yet, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, enough of my rambling. The other day I saw her wandering the dorm hallways, moaning, with cling wrap rolled around her head. What kind of ritual is that supposed to be?
きっとブリーチをしていたんじゃないかしら。彼女、月に一度ぐらいのペースで髪を脱色しているみたいなのだけれど、その脱色に使う薬品が相当に痛いらしいのよね。
I see. At the time, I'd hidden myself instinctively and observed Michiru's freakish ceremony from afar, but it seems she wasn't wrapping foil in her head to protect from occult mind control rays after all. Incidentally, is that hair color allowed by the school regulations?
まあ、
対面的には若干の問題はあるけれど、うちは私学だし、彼女の髪が著しく風紀を乱しているというわけでもないしね。
True enough. It seems like she has her reasons for going with that hair color too. Guess there's no need to force her to stop.
どういう意味？
About what?
松島さんの髪の色の理由、何か聞いたの？
No, well, she said I'm a tsundere, so it has to be this way. But I don't know anything more than that.
何それ？ツンデレ？
Okay, to sum the girl up, she's just a generally incompetent human being. Although you might get distracted by that flashy blonde hair at first, it's not representative of who she really is. That coloration is actually a warning signal. By going out of her way to be highly visible, she's announcing to everyone who sees her that I'm poisonous. But in the end, it's nothing more than an empty threat. In other words, Michiru is so weak that she feels the need to project hollow menace in self-defense. The girl wouldn't last a minute on her own. She has to form symbiotic relationships to survive. But she's also counterproductively cautious around others and has a hard time trusting their charity or affection. In that sense, Sachi's a unique presence in Michiru's life. If you ask me, Michiru might be trying to figure out just how selfish can I be before Sachi rejects me, by slowly pushing at the limits of her kindness. What? For the record, these are just my opinions based on what I've seen of Michiru, so I might be completely off base.
意外と深いところまで見ているものだから、ちょっと驚いただけ。
People do call me perceptive sometimes. When you grow up nervously watching the expressions on other people's faces, you naturally pick up a habit of observing others.
そういえば、あなたは確かお姉さんがいたのよね。
As she speaks, Principal Tachibana takes a binder stuffed with documents from her desk, then begins flipping through the contents.
上に兄弟がいる子って上の子を見ながら育つから優れた観察眼が身につくっていうものね。
Well, that's not the only reason in my case.
それで他の子は？そう。例えば小峰さんとかはどう思う？
Keep in mind this is only like 2 weeks after he arrived in this place, I think. I think he came here at the start of June, was it? Could be mistaken, of course. Sachi, eh? On the surface, she's just insanely serious about everything. Kind of an awkward girl. I think she's got the idea that diligent obedience is her only redeeming feature. Guess you could classify her as a tortoise rather than a hare, but it seems more like she's decided that for herself. Like she's just given up on developing her talents any further. Basically, she's the type who thinks about resolving a huge problem over the course of 10 years of hard work. She seems incapable of even considering a search for easier methods, let alone turning to others for help. I think that's pretty admirable in its own way. If you told her to build a castle here, she'd start stacking up stones by herself. She's serious, honest, and follows any instruction she's given obediently, to the point where she often seems more like a robot than a human being. The girl's faithful to her orders, but she doesn't think about efficiency when carrying them out. It's almost like she's punishing herself. If someone doesn't teach the girl to let off some steam, she's going to explode someday.
確かにそうね。あの子、何を頼んでもいいですよ、わかりましたっていうもんだから、私もつい仕事頼んじゃったり、雑用を任せちゃったりするし。
Isn't that just because you're the people who, like, what is it? I feel like people who take advantage of that kindness, like, yeah, you're basically taking advantage of that person then. Sure, it's easy to ask someone to deal with your chores and odd jobs, but do you really want that? If you're actually a good human being or at least someone with decent conscience, would you do that every single time?
気をつけないとダメね。
Try not to fall into the mistake of thinking, I've created an appropriate setting, so now I can just leave the students to take care of themselves.
痛いところをついてくるわね。私だって今のままでいいとは思っていないのよ。だからこうして定期的に個人面談という形であなたたちの意見を聞いているのだし。
So So you've had this sort of discussion with the others as well.
ねえ、そう。折を見ては面談をしたり、話すのが苦手な子には日誌を提出してもらったりしているの。
Diaries.
日誌というか、あれは絵日記に近いかしらね。
Machina, is it?
ご明察。あの子の言葉は少し理解するのが難しいし、話をしている最中に何を話そうとしていたのか忘れてしまうようなことが多いから、思い立ったことを紙に記録したものを提出してもらっているの。あの子結構絵が上手だから面白いわよ。
I see. Yeah, in Machina's case, I think a diary would probably be more coherent.
あなたイリスさんとずいぶん仲良くなったみたいね。とても珍しいことよ。
Amani told me the same thing.
イリスさんはね、そうは見えないかもしれないけれど、日常生活に支障が出るほどの人見知りなのに、あなたどうやって彼女と仲良くなったの？
Piece of cake. Just taught her a few grown-up games. Now she comes to my room every night. It's a joke. Don't give me that look.
本当に冗談なんでしょうね。
If you ask me, Machina's kind of the exact opposite of Michiru. She plays up her own weakness to take advantage of the protection of others, like her bizarre speech patterns and quirky habits. The aggressive way she cuddles up to people, all that. I think it's something she does by instinct to invite compassion from the strong. That sort of trick works on many men, but it's not going to make her popular with her own sex. Wouldn't be surprised if she'd been bullied as a result. The reason Machina's taken to Amani so much is probably because of Amani's unusually strong protective instinct. But I think Amani's large body and the oddly masculine parts of her personality are also a factor. If you want Machina to like you, communicate that you don't intend her any harm. Then demonstrate that you're strong. She'll sidle up to you herself. Sidle. That's a pretty weird word, and I don't think I see that often.
なんだか随分と歪んでいるというか、打算的な関係なのね。
Don't know about that. It's a fact that I don't dislike Machina, and she herself understands perfectly well that I've seen through her. Fact is, Machina's much smarter than she lets on.
そんな関係でいいとあなたは思っているの？
That's not what I'm saying. For one thing, it's not like I can always be around to protect her. If you're completely convinced that someone's going to keep you safe at all times, you'll turn into the sort of person who can't do anything in a real emergency. Amani is enough if she wants someone to spoil and protect her. I'm trying to convey the value of independence and self-defense.
それはイリスさんのことを言っているのよね。それともこの国の未来について？
An interesting interpretation.
冗談よ。それじゃあ最後にスオさんについてあなたはどう思う？
I dislike her? Amani, huh? To be honest, she's the biggest mystery to me. Her painfully cheerful personality and burning need to help others are one thing, but I have no idea why she clings to me so persistently.
スオさん本人が言うには一目惚れらしいじゃない？
That's what I don't understand. See me walk by and your first thought is going to be, that's a suspicious character. And she's saying she fell in love with me at first sight? She might be the most deranged of all of them. I don't have an answer, so let me ask you instead. What kind of woman is she?
どういうと言われても見たままよ。
Are you sure?
明るくて元気で一番年上だからしっかりしてるし。ちょっと待ってね。
The principal flips quickly through the document she's holding.
彼女前にいた学校を1年間休学しているから事実上はあなたの2個上ね。
Hey now, you shouldn't give away a woman's age like that. Pretty cruel.
いいじゃない。まだ若いんだし気にすることないわよ。
In that case, how many years older than me are you, Chizuru? What's the matter? You've inexplicably broken into a sweat.
あの子がこの学園に来たのは榊さんに続いて2番目よ。
I didn't ask you about that.
寮に彼女の引っ越しの荷物が届いた次の日、なんていうの、ほらアメリカの暴走族が乗っているようなオートバイに乗って本人が学園に来たのよ。もうね、とんでもない子が来ちゃったってびっくりしたんだけど、まあ話してみれば普通の子だったわね。とってもいい子よ。
Alright, I get the picture. Guess I'll give up on the H thing.
とにかくみんないい子たちばかりだから、これからも仲良くしてあげて。
Can't make any guarantees, but I will put in the effort. Are we done here?
ええ、もう退出してもらって結構よ。何か相談があればいつでも来て。
Alright then, I'll be going. I do have the same sort of image of Chizuru as Yuji, to be honest. Like, she's kinda useless. I can't quite get used to my life at this school. I was being perfectly honest when I told Chizuru that my own smile feels awkward to me. A normal student life in a normal school. It's hard for me to believe now how readily I'm accepting these small fragments of happiness. Or maybe, right, maybe it's hard for me to forgive. I don't think I'm really feeling awkward when I see that smile. I'm feeling guilt. It feels like foul gas gathering in my body, like my blood's turning black and viscous in my veins. A stifling sensation, as if my lungs are slowly filling with cold poison. Look, you. Do you really think this is what you should be doing right now? Vague, impatient questions dominate my mind. I feel a pressing need to do something, anything, but no concrete course of action presents itself. The principal tells me that I'll get used to this soon, but what good would that do, even if I could? No matter how I change, none of the things that I've lost are ever coming back. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You can always get something new. That's how life is, right? You lost things, you get some new stuff. In the field, interpersonal relationships resemble the interlocking of pieces in a puzzle. In order to form a coherent larger picture, the players fix every piece into the puzzle into its place. I move according to their instructions, take the position they designate for me, and carry out the tasks they assign to me. In many cases, the players prepare a number of spare pieces as insurance against the unexpected. The pieces in question realize that they are expendable and are prepared for the possibility they may be used as sacrifices. I always hated watching as people were sent to their deaths, but I also understood the rules of the game we were playing. Pawns aren't allowed to move on their own selfish impulses. The first priority is always to win. It's probably because I've spent so long in that sort of world, but friendship has become a mostly theoretical concept for me. The word rings a little hollow in my ears. Not to say that I'm skeptical of its existence, but to me, it seems almost like something out of a magic show. Show me two people swearing we'll be friends forever, and I see some TV psychic bending a spoon. Makes me want to pull back that curtain they've set up around their feelings and see what's really going on in there. How the trick really works.
酸っぱいよ酸っぱいよ
This again, Michiru? As usual, Michiru's gulping down that bitter soft drink to maintain her vitamin C intake. If she's that determined to keep up this absurd daily dose, wouldn't taking supplements be more efficient? There are pills that contain daily supplies of a wide range of vitamins. The ideal would be to get everything you need from your meals, but that would involve eating buckets of vegetables daily, which isn't easy to keep up. Wrong! You don't need to eat a bucket full of vegetables daily. You eat like what, 100 grams of something and then 100 grams of something else? It's not hard, Yuji. I mean, I don't know just how much the author knows about nutrition, but let me tell you, I know a lot about nutrition after the fact that I started exercising and just overall become a fitness nut. So this is some bullshit that what he's saying right here. It's not a great idea to become completely dependent on pills for your nutrients, but I don't think there's any problem with using them to complement your diet. Incidentally, Michiru.
あんたいつからいたのよ。もしかしてザ・ストーカ
Why don't you just take supplements?
ー？何のこと？
If you want to keep up a regular vitamin C intake but don't like sour things, wouldn't it be easier to just take a multivitamin tablet? Okay, cut the maggot. I'm asking you a question. Why do you torture yourself by drinking this stuff when there's an alternative?
風見くん、あんたってば頭良さそうなくせに意外と抜けてるとこあんのね。ばっかじゃないの。あ、ごめん。いや、違います。そんなの簡単でしょ。液体の方が体に吸収されやすいからに決まってるわよ。考えてごらんなさいな。水とお菓子、乾いた砂の上に落とした場合、どっちが早く吸収される？ほらほら答えての。
Almost certainly the water.
そうでしょ。つまりこの私の乾いた体には液体の方が効率よく吸収されるってわけ。勉強になった？
That's actually somewhat of a reasonable explanation from you, Michiru. Are you saying that your body is composed of dry sand?
私は砂じゃないわよ。砂なわけないでしょ。でも喉が渇いたとか表現するでしょうが。だから乾いてんのよ。カピカピなのよ。誰がカピカピよ。服についたお米か。誰がお米だ。誰がお米の神様だ。
I get the feeling you'd end up in an infinite loop if I let you keep going here.
ちょっと頭の良いとこ見せちゃったかしらね。そうよ。みちるの言う通り、お米にはね、神様がいるのよ。だから一粒一粒大事に食べないといけないのよ。
いやいや、別にそういう話をしてるわけじゃないんだけどね。
ところでね、みちるが酸っぱいものを求めてるということで、こんなものを用意しました。じゃじゃーん。
Amani takes out an airtight plastic bag filled with powder. Although I didn't have her down as a drug trafficker, this is pretty suspicious any way you look at it. What's that, heroin?
んなわけないでしょ。この粉は何かというと、実はビタミン A。
Vitamin A is also something that's really easy to find in most vegetables, so if you're taking vitamin A pills or supplements, you're dumb. Sorry.
これはビタミン C は言うに及ばず、世界中の酸っぱいものを集め、何時間も煮詰めて作ったみちるのためのスペシャル粉。さあ、酸っぱいうちに召し上がれ。酸っぱいものが好きなわけじゃないんだけどな。
Still, you had this chance to challenge the sourness of the sour dropped in your lap. Might as well give it a shot.
やだ、絶対やだ。
A veto, eh? Alright, you don't have to try it. I'll have it go instead. Sour things tend to be good for you after all. Well, except when the taste is the result of something going rotten. Amani, you didn't grind up spoiled meat to make this, right?
もちろんよ。でも
Then I'll try it.
なんじゃの？あ、ちょっと待って、それは。
Sit tight and watch, Amani. You understand, Michiru? If you're not going to take this, I will. Here goes.
ここはツンデレらしく。あんた、それ私に貸しなさいよ。
Michiru rudely snatches the plastic bag out of my hands and pulls off the twist tie that was sealing it shut.
あんたになんてあげないんだからね。これは私の
Try too hard to play the tsundere and you'll end up as nothing more than a predictable contrarian. Michiru pours the stuff from the bag into her mouth, gulping it all down as though it were antacid? Antacid? The heck is that? Powder.
全部飲むことないでしょ。一口ペロリでよかったのに。はぐれいらないよね。まさきでそれを言いなさいよね。白が逃げ。翼を越えて逃げ。
You know, I can appreciate Michiru's character though. I don't think people usually purposefully do something this stupid, right? So it does make for an interesting or at least comedic reaction.
なん
なんでもいいから飲み物。
Here you go. I passed Michiru the 100% vitamin C drink she'd been working on earlier.
ありがとう。ゴビゴビ。うわーすげー。何よこれ。私のジュースじゃない。
You said any drink at all. This was the closest thing at hand.
確かにそう言ったけど、わかるでしょ。どうしてそんなとこだけ急に気が利かないのよ。バカじゃないの。なんでもいいから他に飲み物を。じゃあこっちを。ありがとう。ゴビゴビ。ブヘヘヘ。苦っ。何これ。私特製のビタミン A100% ドリンク。そんなのあるの？ねえ、だったら最初からそれでよくない？なぜまず粉をペロリさせたの？粉は見せるだけで水に溶かして薄めたこっちを飲ませようとしたのよ。だったら先に言ってよね。ユージが粉を飲もうとした時にちょっと待ってって私言ったよね。ああ、確かに言ってましたよね。でもね、伝達の順番をね、よく考えていこうよ、みんなで。これからね、将来に向けてさ。ごめんね、そんなに酸っぱかった？うん、酸っぱかった。何度も言いますけどね、酸っぱいものが好きなわけじゃないんですよ。そのビタミンを摂取したいだけなんですよ。
I thought she said bitter. I see. I have no idea why you're so stubborn about not using supplements. But if that's your way of doing things, I'll keep my opinions to myself.
はあ、舌のピリピリだいぶ落ち着いてきた。ところでユージ、私は酸っぱいものも平気で飲んじゃう最強のツンデレなんだけど、酸っぱいものに食べ合わせとかってあると思う？
Foods to avoid. You talking about that superstition where certain combinations of dishes supposedly cause some terrible side effect? It's mostly just a bunch of old wives' tales.
そうなの？私はまあ食べ合わせなんて気にしてないけどね。グレープフルーツだってもちゃもちゃ食べちゃうし。
Sour stuff. I guess they clash with salty things, so the bad combinations would probably be stuff like eel or pickled plums. Supposedly you'd get pretty severe indigestion.
よっぽど多く食べなきゃ平気じゃないの？
I agree, Amane.
ものによっては含有されてる栄養素を打ち消し合うこともあるみたいだから、避けた方が無難っちゃ無難だけど。
Learning from the wisdom of the ancients is all well and good, but I wouldn't get too hung up on myths like that. Even that famous legend about durian fruit and alcohol causing some fatal reaction turned out to be a load of crap. I actually don't know if that's true or not, but I do hear a lot from old people that that's a bad combination. Thankfully, I don't like durian. Alcohol I consume, but not all that much. Well, depending on, you know, only on some special occasions. But why are you asking in the first place? Planning to start cooking?
そういうわけじゃないけど。なんでもないわよ。私は食べ合わせなんて気にしないおてんばがあるってことよ。おでんぱがある？くら！なんじゃくら！やっぱりチルチルは電波を受信したり宇宙と交信したりしてるのよさ。そんなことしてるか！
食べ合わせそんなに気になる？健康面を気にしてのこと？
気にならない。
気にしてたから聞いたんじゃないの？
あにゃ、違う。そうじゃないのです。
Sorry. What's wrong? Your tsundere is starting to fade.
消えてないわよ。そういうのはね、いちいち指摘しなくても平気よ。なぜなら大抵そうなった時は自分でも分かってって何を言わせるのよ。私はこれが素なんだからね。
皆様お揃いで薬物パーティーですか？
What the fuck?
それはもう終わったわよ。
I don't know if the Japanese really meant drug parties, but I don't think that's actually what she said.
いや、その言い方は語弊が。
ね、パーティーなんかじゃないわよ。もしそうならユミコもいるはずでしょう。私は仲間外れが嫌いなのよ。
それもそうですね。となると榊さんはまたお一人で読書でしょうか。
榊さんってちょっと距離を感じるわよね。仲が悪いとかそういうことじゃないんだけど。そうかしら。私はもう、ハローユミコ、今日も元気にしてる？でもあんたの健康なんて気にしてないんだからねってな具合でバッチリ挨拶。
みちる様の社交性には頭が下がります。まるで壊れたダンプカーのように相手の懐に飛び込んでいきますよね。
Yeah, I expect you get carried away with that fairly regularly, probably resulting in a lot of nasty glares from Sakaki.
確かにそういうこともないわけじゃないわね。
So who does Sakaki spend the most time with then?
そう言われると難しいな。私はマキナの面倒を見てることが多いけど。
そうなのよさ。いつもアマネーに上から下までやってもらってんの。
私はサチに用事を頼むことが多いかしらね。
そうですね。休憩しようかなというタイミングでみちる様が何かをおっしゃられることが多いです。でも働いている時は充実感があるのでちっとも苦ではありません。
そうでしょう。サチは私のメイドだもの。
でも同い年のマキちゃんと一緒にいることも多いです。
Are you actually the same age? What the hell? Makina's a popular one.
へへへ、マキナ人気者。チルチルは人気ないね。まあ性格めんどくさいし仕方ないのよさ。
何よその言い方、失礼しちゃうわね。ププー。
みちる様、冷静になった上でその現実を受け入れてください。みちる様は人気がない。
サチ？
チルチルはお友達がいないからちゃんと作った方がいいのよさ。
みんな私のことをどう思って接してるの？哀れ。
Oh, sorry.
そこまでじゃ
God
ない
damn
け
it.
ど、まあそういう感じ。
I can never gauge when Michiru's finished talking or not. Not to worry, Michiru. You can always make friends inside your head. They'll never reject you. Oh, how very wrong you are, Yuji. When you're I don't know. I actually don't know. Is it when you're too far gone that you start to feel like even the characters in your head start rejecting you? Or is it the other way around? When characters that are in your head always accept you for what you are, that you're truly too far gone? I don't know. Maybe both end of the spectrum is bad.
何それ？どういうこと？頭の中にいる友達って？
Michiru's reaction to my attempt at a joke isn't quite what I expected. She's staring wide-eyed at me, waiting on tenterhooks for more details. I take a deep breath and politely begin to explain. Well, the most common term would be imaginary friend. It's a fictional companion that lives solely in your imagination. Pretty typical in childhood. Some people only make one. Some people dream up a whole cast of characters. Although they'll likely drop the idea as they grow up, I've heard some people keep their imaginary friends around even into adulthood.
イマジナリーフレンドか。
Although Michiru listened carefully to my every word, it doesn't seem to have been what she was looking for. Her shoulders sag in disappointment.
そっか。それって子供の妄想みたいなものなのね。
I guess some people have long conversations with their dolls or stuffed animals instead.
ミチルは空想とか好きそうだもんね。
Nowadays, it's all about those dakimakuras, man. You don't use dolls anymore, right?
そんなことないわよ。私はいつだって現実を見据えて生きているのよ。ビシッ。
Oh, that a fact. So what's reality, the way you see it?
私にとっての現実？急に難しいこと言うのね。ちょっと待ちなさいよ。
Michiru folds her arms and closes her eyes. After a long moment of thought, she stands up straight and delivers her answer.
私にとっての現実とは
私が今ここにいることよ。
Judging from her dramatic delivery, Michiru must have thought that was a really impressive line. Sadly, her audience is less than responsive. There's a moment of awkward silence.
そりゃそうなのよさ。ここにいなかったら現実じゃないのよ。チルチルは考えすぎて一周回って当たり前のことを言ってしまったのよ。
Damn, everyone's really bashing on Michiru though. They're pretty harsh on her.
そうね、みちるには難しい質問だったかもしれないわね。みちる様、わからないときはわからないと言ってくださいね。そうすれば風見さんも最初から質問しないはずです。ちゃんと頭数から外していただけるはずです。みちる様は頭数にない。ちょっと、なんでみんなして人のことちょっとかわいそうな子扱いするのよ。
Yeah, I think Sachi is only ever rude to Michiru, to be honest.
今の答え完璧じゃない。むしろ哲学的でさえあるじゃない。
Can you define metaphysical?
当たり前よ。教えなさい。開き直るスピードがより速くなった。
You've disappointed me. I'm making a note not to expect anything from you in the future. Not that I had been previously, but I clearly need to lower my forecasts even further. From this moment forward, I'll be formally handling you as an authentic, officially certified idiot.
もうそうやってまた私のことバカにする。バカじゃないんだからね。そういうの禁止。ドンストップ。
ひとまずミスドンストップは置いとくのよさ。
放置プレートはマキナも成長したものね。
プレイじゃないのよ。本気で放置よ。
どうしてごほん。では話を変えてユージ、君のお友達ってあんまり想像できないけど、子供の頃とかはどうだったの？
Friends as a kid, huh? I mostly don't remember a lot about my childhood. At least below the age of, what, 7 or 8? I kinda don't remember about my childhood too much. Though I don't think my friends are all that special. They're pretty much just the typical friends you have during elementary school. We sometimes fight, we sometimes go to the internet cafe, play lots of games, you know? Just the typical stuff. I don't think there's anything too bad about it. As a kid, my friends, eh? The words bring to mind a young girl I met under some very unusual circumstances. Our relationship was basically about helping each other stay alive, but I guess you could have called it a sort of friendship. Then again, after a while, she disappeared from that place, and I was left to fend for myself again. Tricky question. I'm not the most socially gifted person around.
そう？多少気難しいとこもあるけど、ちゃんとしてるじゃない。これからどんな友達が欲しいとかないの？
I mean, just because he's like this right now, Amane, doesn't mean he's like this way back in the past. People change, you know. Sometimes more so out of circumstances than anything else. I'm drawing a blank on the concept of friends, so I decide to mentally substitute the term buddies. I think I can provide more concrete answers about the teammates I've known in the field. Well, I'll pass on anyone who holds me back. The useless ones don't have any right to complain if they end up getting shot in the back.
後ろから撃たれるってどんな状況下での友達を想定してるのよ。
Just a figure of speech. Nobody's actually going to shoot an ally, but you should try to learn who you can count on to watch your back, and who you can't expect anything from, and how to deal with the latter.
頭数には入れない。
Why are you crying, Sachi? Don't think anything bad about Michiru, please.
びっく。
Anyway, I like people who are easy to work with. I guess that's really the only thing I'm looking for, to be honest. As long as they don't get in my way, I'm not going to complain.
現実的なのね。友達っていうよりは仕事仲間みたい。
Maybe. Sometimes I think tools make better partners than human beings. They have a clear purpose, you know. Makes them a lot simpler to deal with.
ユージ、人を道具扱いするのは良くないと思うよ。
Didn't mean to imply that. I'm just saying that tools tend to be reliable. Once you've used a piece of machinery enough, it practically becomes a part of you. A simple extension of your body that does what you need. Same as with my bike. I love my bike so much. Though then again, if I can buy a more expensive bike, I would definitely love that bike too. Or even more so. The more affection you give a tool, the more smoothly it operates. A tool won't betray you. Not often at least.
何の話だかわからなくなってきたのよさ。
Sorry, got a bit off track there. To put it more simply, I don't think I've ever really had something you could call a best friend.
そうなのよね。友達と親友ってまた違うから、そうなると難しいわよね。
私はあんまりそういうのは考えたことないのよさ。
そうですね。私は皆様のお役に立ちたい一心ですし。
We've been discussing friendship for a while now. Not that the concept has gotten any clearer for me, but at this point, I realize that one person has stopped participating in the conversation. A certain bottle blonde has slowly taken her distance from the group and our friendly chat, her face growing increasingly gloomy. Her usual energy's vanished. Wonder if something's wrong. I can see beads of sweat forming on Michiru's forehead. Maybe her stomach's upset. As she demonstrated just a few minutes ago, the girl isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. As she is an idiot, it wouldn't be surprising if she ate food off the ground and found herself in intestinal distress. The fuck, Yuji, you're crazy! Why would you even think that about someone? Yes, I can easily imagine the girl stuffing her cheeks with unidentified berries she found in some bush. I take a good, careful look at Michiru. Indeed. This is the face of someone who'd go scavenging in trash cans when she got a little hungry. No, my mistake. She probably doesn't even have to be hungry first. I can just picture her plucking some tasty-looking, colorful mushroom off the ground and chowing down without a second thought. Idiots are such a handful.
あんた、何見てんのよ。
Perhaps she wandered down to the beach, spotted a crab, chased after it while drooling, then found herself under attack from a jealous macaque? Is that macaque? I don't know how to say that. Coveting the same prize. Honestly, does this woman have no sense whatsoever when it comes to her hunting and gathering? Just entering a wild monkey's territory is dangerous. What kind of fool goes so far as to try to steal their prey? Come to think of it, crab-eating macaques... Macaques? That's so weird. Don't even live in Japan. Did this girl wander all the way to Southeast Asia in search of something tasty to stick in her craw? This is just too much. I have to say something.
ねえ、何？ちょっと怖いんですけど。ねえ、ユージってば。
Sometimes when Yuji goes into like thinking mode, it's he barely listens to whatever his surroundings are doing. Like, it's so stupid. I abruptly jump off the sofa and drop my hands on Michiru's shoulders. Everyone flinches in surprise, but I pay no mind to their stares. I keep my gaze firmly focused on Michiru as I speak. It's amoebic? Amoebic? I actually had no idea how to say that word. Amoebic? It might be amoebic. Dysentery. I'm sure of it. Don't worry, I have some experience with this. You were bitten by a crab-eating macaque, right? Try to learn from this experience. Stop scavenging for food for the time being. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing you for the thought. After all, procuring food from your environment is the most crucial and fundamental of survival skills. I'm very proud of you for trying, okay? That said, your particular actions in the case were mistaken. You acted rashly out of ignorance. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'll make sure this doesn't happen again. And... I sharply turned to face the rest of the group and raised my voice to a harsh shout. Let me just warn the rest of you right now. You don't have any right to look down on Michiru just because she's caught amoebic dysentery. This could have happened to any one of you. We're going to learn from this mistake. You're all going to know what plants are edible, which are poisonous, and how to avoid savage monkeys. I don't want you crying to me for help when the Japanese islands are covered in jungle.
No.
Alright then, first things first. I'll be accompanying Michiru for the moment. Come on, we're going to the bathroom. I need to get a look... to confirm my diagnosis.
待ちなさいよ。何を見る気なのよ。ゴイゴイとか果肉とか猿とか意味わかんないんですけど。
Hmm? You were scavenging for food, right? Hence the infection.
違います。勝手に決めつけないでよね。
Then what's with the sweating? Your face is pasty and you've got nasty beads of perspiration on your forehead. You sure don't look healthy to me.
それは。
Amane, watching Michiru and me with concern, enters the conversation.
急にジャングルとかカニとかミチルがどうかしたの？
Not in the least. She's suffering from brutal diarrhea.
違うって言ってるでしょ。
God damn it, Yuji, you fucking idiot.
でもそういえばさっきから少し苦しそう。大丈夫？
大丈夫よ。なんてことないんだからね。
Even if you don't have dysentery, we need to properly identify the problem. Whatever infectious disease you've caught, we'll need to take the appropriate countermeasures. Understood?
だからそうじゃないの。チルチル、お腹痛いの？大丈夫？
ミチル様、保健室まで私がご一緒させていただきます。
Not necessary, Sachi. There's a possibility she's still infectious. I probably have more experience dealing with this sort of thing than you.
はい、それではよろしくお願いします。
Come on, let's go.
だから大ごとにしないでよね。私そういうの嫌いなんだから。
Listen, maggot. How many times do I have to tell you not to make light of dysentery? The small things are what get you. You change your socks regularly when you're in Vietnam, and you always treat diarrhea with the proper respect.
そうじゃないって言ってるでしょ。もう。
You're awfully stubborn. But anyway, this illness sure came out of nowhere. You looked fine until we started talking about best friends or whatever it was. Michiru's face fills with pain, and she clutches a hand to her chest. In the next moment, she's leaning heavily against the wall, as if to keep herself from falling to the ground. What's wrong? Are you in pain?
ちょっと休ませて。すぐ治るから。
Wait, is it your chest rather than your stomach?
ねえユージ、お願い。ちょっとだけだから。こういうことには慣れてるのよ。
Normally, chest pain is something we should be responding to immediately, but it seems this is a familiar occurrence for Michiru. She has the most information, so for the moment, I'll have to trust her judgment. Alright, if you say so, but don't overdo it. If it feels worse than usual, let me know right away.
わかったわよ。あんたに心配なんてしてもらいたくないんだからね。
Yeah, something... this sort of personality does make it hard for her to actually have a serious discussion, though. You've got guts, young tsundere. You done? You stopped breathing to the mic already? Okay. Thumping herself lightly on the back, Michiru slowly settles her ragged breathing down. In time, the beads of sweat on her forehead disappear, and the expression of pain on her face fades away. I see. I tend not to trust sick people when they tell me I'll be fine as a general rule, but I guess sometimes the person in question does know best.
言ったでしょ。ちょっとした貧血よ、貧血。あんたは気にしなくていいの。
I don't think anemia typically causes chest pain.
私の場合は感じるの。だからもし今後こういうことがあっても軽くスルーしなさいよね。それとあんまりこういう姿他の子に見せたくないから黙ってなさいよ。
If you've got a chronic illness, I think it'd be best if the people around you knew enough to react appropriately in an emergency. But if you're that opposed to the idea, we can write a memo and stick it on your forehead.
もう私が黙ってなさいって言ったら黙ってなさいよね。わかった？
If you insist.
それならよし。じゃあ戻るわよ。みんな、ミチル様のお帰りよ。
さっきのはただの貧血。心配しなくていいのよ。
あれ、もう戻ってきたの？元気になってよかったのよさ。
当たり前じゃない。私を誰だと思ってるの？ツンデレキングミチル様よ。
一時はどうなることかと。
サーチ、そんなこと言ってる暇があったらお水持ってきてちょうだい。喉が渇いたわ。私はナチュラルミネラルウォーターをご所望よ。
はい、ただいまお持ちいたします。
戻ってきた途端にさっちゃんに命令なんて。すっかり元気になったみたいね。もともとちょっと貧血だっただけよ。レバーを食せば問題なす。それじゃあまた盛り上がっていくわよ。
そんなに盛り上がるような話してたっけ？
してないなら盛り上げていくわよ。オラオラ。これだけ元気なら心配しなくても大丈夫そうね。
Once women get started with idle gossip in earnest, it won't end anytime soon. In accordance with that rule, the group's conversation stretches on endlessly. Finding a good moment, I slip away silently. When I leave the dorm, I bump into Sakaki, a non-participant in the ongoing girl talk. I know she's not the most sociable type, but even so, she's known the others longer than I have. She might have some sort of an answer for me. Hey Sakaki, just now, Michiru got sick out of nowhere. Ah, don't worry, it didn't turn out to be anything serious. It seems like she was completely used to it. Have you seen something like that happen to her before?
いいえ、記憶にないわ。いつもバカみたいに騒いでるじゃない。
Which would mean she's trying to hide it.
どういうこと？松島さん、病気か何かなの？
No, I don't think so. Sorry for the weird question all of a sudden.
いいえ、大丈夫よ。
Incidentally, Sakaki, please don't mention what I said to anyone else. It seems Michiru doesn't want people worrying about her.
そうね。余計な詮索をされたくないのは誰も同じだろうし。そうするわ。
Thanks. I'll see you later. Relationships are difficult things. Too often, we hide ourselves out of consideration for others and dress up ugly reality with happy lies. Keep it up long enough and the truth is left irreparably tangled with fiction. Everyone understands that the ideal relationship is based on straightforward honesty. But that straightforward road feels as circuitous as a maze once you take the first step. Our hearts are hidden from each other, regardless of our intentions. As we stumble through the twists and turns of life, the most we can do is pray that we won't lose our way in the one maze we ourselves have created. But I think that might actually be the most difficult thing of all. If we could manage that much, every path would lie open to us. I don't think it's all that difficult. How hard is it to actually just be honest? But yeah, that was one of the few interesting moments with Michiru, I guess. And it feels like I don't really want you guys to have a very big expectation on the Michiru route. Because as mysterious as what happened to Michiru was, I feel like the explanation in the route was not all that satisfying. But that was me playing this years ago. Maybe if I play it again or read the story again, it wouldn't be as disappointing. We'll have to see. I am planning on doing all the routes in this one anyway. It's very difficult to use your time off effectively. In particular, when you're in a profession like mine, your holidays tend to be irregular and come with many restrictions on how you can spend them. It's hard to make plans ahead of time, and when you do, they'll be spoiled as often as not. As a result, I tend to use my free days to catch up on sleep, get in extra exercise, and read books. Things that I can do without the need for any advanced planning or preparation. The major side effect is that I've never been able to form much in the way of a hobby or interest to enliven my usual routine. My schedule may have changed once I entered the school, but my mildly pathetic recreational habits remain much the same. I'm working through a calisthenics routine in the dorm lobby. Amani is providing a helpful commentary. Hey! I do my calisthenics when I'm making my food for breakfast, alright? There's nothing wrong with that.
生きてることが苦痛で仕方ない。でも俺には生きるしかないんだ。
Yeah, you guys say all this shit, but you guys are gonna regret this when you get to like 50 or something. My bones and muscles are gonna be way more stronger than you guys are. You guys is, I guess. Look, the stage whispers and dramatic sighs are starting to get on my nerves. How about you just come over here and tell me off to my face?
土曜の昼間から柔軟体操やってる男とかつまんなくてヘドが出そうなのよさ。
I take it back. Do me a favor and stick the sniping behind my back. This is more infuriating than I expected.
にしてもさ、本当にやること何もないの？ヘドはさすがに出ないけど、見ててため息の一つもつきたくもなるわよ、それ。
You don't need to watch this, Amane. What the fuck? Amane squats down next to me as she speaks, her face full of pity. Give me a break here. It's better than sitting around doing nothing at all, don't you think?
確かにそうだけどさ、それでもせっかくの土曜なんだから、少しはなんかこう、もっとそれらしいことしたらいいんじゃないの？
This woman can be such a pain in the ass at times. Bringing my calisthenics to a halt for the moment, I stand up and turn to face Amane. Alright then, as you're clearly a professional woman of leisure, Miss Amane, please teach me exactly how to make delightful use of my Saturdays. I'm all ears. Very simple question, Amane. How do you spend your own free time?
その
いやだから週末のアバンチュールを優雅に過ごしまくる人生の達人周防天音先生に素晴らしい余暇のエンジョイの仕方を伝授してもらおうと思ったんだが。
口真似すんな。それに何よその安いコピー。
アバンチュール処女解放、そしてびっくり開花。
You're crazy, Machina.
こうさ、顔めがけて水平にチョップとか打っていいと思う？
Don't ask me. So, how do you spend your weekends, Amane?
そこに話戻すんだね。戻すんだね、話。
Since you go around calling other people dull human beings, I'm sure you have some really interesting hobbies yourself, right? Spit it out.
週刊大人の隠れ家とかに特集されそうなパーフェクトな趣味なんでしょうな。さあどうぞ。
マキナ、後で覚えてなさいよ。私の趣味は掃除と洗濯と料理かな。
I drop my hands abruptly onto Amane's shoulders. I'm afraid you've made a serious mistake here, my friend. Please allow me to explain in detail.
ごめん、分かってるからやめて。
The things you just listed are not what we'd call hobbies.
ダメ、お願い言わないで。
Firmly maintaining my grip on Amane as she squirms around violently, I stare into her eyes, place her on a fake smile, and deliver a blow of truth. Those are chores.
いやー、分かってたけど改めて言われるとすごく惨めだ。
Amane at last escapes from my grasp. Collapsing to her knees, she hangs her head in shame. Machina trots over to Amane's side and gives her back a few commiserating thumps.
なんだ、そのうち君にも生きがいってもんが見つかるかもしれんから、それまではつまらない専業主婦でも頑張ってやってみるといいじゃないかね。しかし
やっぱりチョップをさ、こう。
Well, you're the one raising the girl. Discipline her as you see fit. Anyway, with this level of instruction, it doesn't seem likely I'm going to find myself a hobby worth being proud of anytime soon.
昼間から何をギャーギャー騒いでるのよ。うるさくて起きちゃったじゃない。
Michiru arrives on the scene. She's obviously been awake for several hours already. Probably thought our noise was a good excuse to be Nebi. By the way, Nebi would be Kansai slang for someone with a desperate need to stick their nose into other people's conversations. I've been picking up a bit of this stuff from Amani lately.
ユージの無趣味ぶりをみんなで弾劾してたのよ。趣味？
Yeah, I don't have anything particularly worthwhile to occupy my leisure time, which they decided to pester me about.
確かに、あんたは趣味とかなさそうよね。ずっと部屋で親指だけの腕立て伏せとかしてそうなイメージ。
Very crazy that only happens in movies, Michiru. Though I don't think it's impossible for Yuji to do push-ups and arm stands all weekend. I understand what she means, but at that point, wouldn't it technically be a finger stand rather than an arm stand?
チルチルの趣味はあれだもんね。
何言うのよいきなし。
だってチルチルが毎日することで習慣になりそうなのってそれぐらいしか思いつかないのよさ。
And people say this is the censored version. Are you serious? You guys really think this is the censored version with all these sexual jokes?
のっけー、あんたに私の何がわかるって言うのよ。そんなの毎日はしてないわよ。猿みたいな扱いをしないでくれる。毎日じゃないにしてもしてるのは間違いないのよね。それはってユージがいる前でする話じゃないでしょ。あら、私は堂々と言えるわよ。昨日だってユージのことを考えながらこう。
And people complain about censorship. Sometimes, like, I understand, like, people not liking censorship, but are you serious? If the main thing is not at all, like, I don't know, if, like, the main essence isn't censored in any way, can you really call that censorship?
うっとりした口調で明らかに誘うイメージでそんなことを言うな。
ユージもなんとか言ったらどうなのよ。
Sorry, but what exactly am I supposed to say here?
そんな下品なこととか言わないようにしなさいとかそういうこと言ってたしなめればいいじゃないの。
でチルチルは週に何回すんの？
ユージをおかずにしたことある？七とか思い出せる？皆さん集まってみちる様の G の話ですか？うわー、もうここの建物ごと爆破してやりたい。みちる様、爆破にはそれ相応の知識と資材が必要になってくるのであまり現実的な手段とは言えませんよ。わーってるわよ、そんなこと。例え話を本気にしないでよ。申し訳ありません。みちる様ならばやりかねないと思いまして。
Try to keep it down, will you? Sorry, I butchered that again. Try to keep it down, will you? Well, since I've come here, I guess my leisure time has been increasingly filled with this sort of boisterous, trivial chat. Even in that alone, I think I've gained something from entering the school. By the way, where's Sakaki? Considering the topic of our conversation, I don't think she'd be sticking around for long even if she did drop by. But I haven't seen our box cutter girl even once today. At a glance, our normal reserved seat, next to the pillar at the edge of the lobby, doesn't seem to have been disturbed recently.
今日出かけてるわよ。大きなトートバッグを下げてましたね。かなり早い時間でした。そんなに早い時間に？ええ、私がちょうど起きた時でしたから5時過ぎぐらいでしょうか。
Yeah, that's early any way you look at it. It's one thing if you're a compulsive morning runner like me, but most people aren't going to wake up at that hour on a Saturday. Grade schoolers with their radio exercises, or old men doing Tai Chi for their blood pressure, maybe.
バッグの中、何入ってんだろう。なんでしょうね。大量のカッターが入ってるとかでしょうか。
Man, you don't have a very good imagination, Sachi.
相変わらず謎よね、あの子は。というか、前にもこんな話したっけ、ここで。
We did, now that you mention it. Amani's words bring to mind a previous Sakaki incident, set off after a round of scary stories in the lobby. That affair shed light on one aspect of Sakaki's true nature, but not a particularly large or revealing one, and I haven't gained any further insight since. Sakaki's private life is as mysterious as always. As soon as we get back from school, she tends to lock herself up in her room. On the rare occasion she does poke her head outside, she actively evades any real attempt at conversation. Now there's a question. How about Sakaki? What does she do with her free time? I'm not that caught up on actually finding an answer to this question, but I can't deny that the contrast between the shameless openness of this bunch and Sakaki's cloak of secrecy leaves me slightly interested.
あれかな。
あんたとりあえずそこから離れなさいよ。
何言ってんのさ。小、老、病、死。いずれもその根底にあるのは生の喜びなのよ。
You're crazy, Makina. What is wrong with you?
なんでマキナはこんな子になっちゃったんだろう。
悲しむのもわかるけど、これが現実だ。受け入れろ。な。
私が悪いのかな。もっと肌の露出を減らさなきゃいけないのかな。
あの子、教室では本読んでるじゃん。読書じゃないの？趣味。
それは違うと思います。
どうして？
榊さんは本を読んでいる素振りだけで実際は読んでいないことが多々あります。決まった数ページを何度も繰り返したり、そもそもページをめくらなかったり、何日もずっと同じ本を読んでいたこともあります。
Very perceptive, Sachi. You're observant, Sachi. Bizarrely so.
はい、マキちゃんに言われて一時期ずっと観察しておりましたから。
Wait, is she talking about that time we investigated Sakaki? I thought our mission wrapped up after we succeeded in startling the girl, exposing her scaredy cat nature, and generally making life miserable for her. But apparently Sachi was still on observation duty.
サッチンの調査能力は完璧なのよさ。
I'm sure they are, so try not to waste them on stupid crap, alright? At any rate, it seems the bookworm theory is fairly dubious.
ナイフアクションとか。
カッターからの安易な発想よね、それ。
だって他にないでしょ。歩いてるか座ってるか本読んでるかカッターで人に切りつけるかしかあの子の姿って見てないんだもん。
When you describe her that concisely, Sakaki really does seem quite the fearsome character, doesn't she?
まあいいじゃない。あの子だって人間なんだから陰でエロ画像を集めたりしてるわよきっと。
Are you seriously going back to that topic again, Amane? I think we were talking about leisure time and hobbies here, but somehow the topic of discussion seems to have shifted to Sakaki's sex life. How'd that happen exactly?
暇で何もすることなかったらとりあえずエッチに走るんじゃないのかな。
Well, maybe for a guy. Does that happen to girls too? I mean, maybe? I don't know. Depends on the girl, I suppose. If they're actually lewd enough. I know most guys are actually pretty damn lewd. So it's like pretty natural for fapping to be the things that come to mind when they have a lot of free time.
じゃあ何か榊さんに変化がありましたら皆さんにご報告いたしますね。
Okay, Sachi, that's not necessary. Really, truly not necessary.
はい、わかりました。ではしません。
The last thing we need is this nonsense leading to something troublesome and making things awkward in the dorm. If Sakaki wants to talk, she'll do so in her own time. It's not like I have any pressing need to know more about her, so I'm not going to pry when she wants to be left alone.
あ、いっけね。洗濯物洗ったまま干すの忘れてた。じゃあ私戻るね。
Amane patters off toward her room. Sachi and Makina rise off the couch and follow suit. But before I can get up myself, Michiru sidles up with an inquiring look on her face.
どうしたの？ユミコのことが気になってる？
No, not particularly. I only stuck around because I'd been planning to continue my calisthenics, but Michiru ignores my answer to her question, draws her own conclusions, and forges ahead with this one-sided excuse for a conversation.
まあ気になるんだったら早朝にでも入り口で貼っておけばご本人に直接確認できるんじゃない？
I have better things to do with my time.
へえ、ついさっき無趣味ぶりをさらけ出したばっかりなのに。
If you want to talk down to me, I'd suggest you find a less self-indulgent hobby first, Michiru.
だからそっから離れろって言ってんでしょ。やるわよ。
みちる様、本当に G が趣味だったんですか、みちる様。
まあ人生長いんだからそういう時期だってあるさ。猿のように老けて次の目標を考えるんだな、みちるくん。
何か口に詰め込んで死なない程度に苦しめられるものとか落ちてないかしら。
Clawing furiously at her blonde head, Michiru shrieks a desperate entreaty to the heavens. In the end, our discussion about Sakaki's private life was diverted into the usual headache-inducing nonsense before we could reach any real conclusions. Not that it was a topic of especially great interest to me in the first place. A few sets of push-ups later, and I've mostly forgotten about the whole thing. Yeah, forgotten about the whole thing, eh, Yuji? Guess I'm up a bit early. Probably because yesterday had been a fairly light day. I found myself awake earlier than usual. I thought you wake up at like 4:30. Or was it 5:30? It's not like that's a bad thing though. More time for a little calisthenics before my run. Hobbies, huh? As I run through my stretches, I find myself thinking about the conversation we had here yesterday. I guess dull is in fact an objectively appropriate word for someone who uses all his free time to exercise. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I use a lot of my free time to exercise. I do about what? Let's see. Let's see how many hours I do a week. About 20 hours or so of exercise. I can do more. From a conventional viewpoint, training your body might well qualify as a hobby of sorts. But in my case, I'm maintaining a tool I need for my profession. Training is just a part of the job for me. So yes, I basically have no hobbies. I think my personality is mostly to blame. Nothing really tends to capture my interest that strongly, or for that long. On that point, I may have something in common with Sakaki. By all appearances, she keeps everything and everyone at arm's length, mainly because she's decidedly uninterested in learning more. Come to think of it, didn't they say Sakaki... With the sentence halfway out of my mouth, I sensed someone behind me and turned to face them. Sakaki's standing by the entrance, staring at me in surprise. There's a bulky tote bag lying at her feet. I can tell at a glance that it's stuffed full of various items. I catch a glimpse of thin, wooden objects sticking out the top.
早いのね。
For what?
起きる時間がよ。
At this point, the conversation from yesterday comes to mind again. The others mentioned Sakaki's habit of leaving the dorm early in the morning by herself. Apart from the large bag she always carries on these trips, no one has any clues as to what she's getting up to. Not that I'm particularly interested, but the flow of the conversation seems to call for a little light probing. You're up early yourself, Sakaki. Where are you off to? I actually don't remember what the hell she's doing on these trips. I tried to phrase the question pretty casually. It certainly didn't sound too pushy coming out of my mouth. I honestly was just trying to draw her into a little small talk, but... Sakaki purses her lips for a moment before she speaks.
別に、私が何をしようが勝手でしょ。
The sentence she finally fires off somehow manages to be simultaneously sharp and blunt. What we've got here, Sakaki, is a failure to communicate.
どういうことかしら。
I asked, where are you off to? And you responded, what I do is no one's business. That's the answer to a slightly different question. You were probably feeling self-conscious about whatever it is you are going off to do, and ended up mishearing what I was asking.
あなたのそういうすぐ上げ足を取る言い方、不快だわ。
Sadly, it's not really a habit. I was born this way.
とにかく、もう聞かないでちょうだい。
Alright, I won't ask you about this again.
え？
Sakaki's face fills with genuine confusion. She's clearly surprised by this ready concession to her demand.
それじゃあ、失礼するわ。
Yeah, see you later. Sorry to bother you. As Sakaki heads for the exit, I turn around and begin my calisthenics again. But as I'm sitting on the floor and beginning to stretch out my arms, I realize that I haven't heard her leave the building yet. What's up? You need something?
なんでもないわ。
Sakaki opens the door in apparent irritation and immediately leaves the dorm.
怪しいわね。
何をしようとしているんでしょうか。
あの荷物気になるのよさ。
やっぱり武器とか入ってたんじゃないの？
What? Were you watching? You've all got too much time on your hands. Within seconds of Sakaki's exit, the other four emerged from their hiding places around the lobby. Don't tell me you actually went out of your way to wake up early so you could watch her leave. Amani does her best impression of a mischievous child caught with one hand in the cookie jar. It's kind of unpleasant to watch. What the fuck?
なんか昨日の流れでちょっと気になっちゃってね。
みんな考えることは同じだったんですね。
ユージがもうちょっと押せばユミコきっと言ってたよ、あの流れだったら。
Sorry, but I'm just not that interested. In the first place, if it was something Sakaki would feel comfortable talking about, I'm sure she would have responded differently to my casual question. That blunt refusal to talk probably means she has her reasons for keeping her activities to herself. I'm not so irrepressibly curious as to pester her on a sensitive topic, especially when she's not going to reveal anything anyway.
あの荷物だよ。あそこに組み立て式の羽とか変な光る棒とか衣装が入ってて、人知れずユミちゃんはそれに着替えてコスプレとかしているのよさ。
You're crazy, Machina. Whenever Machina talks about something, it's always something ridiculous. So it's almost safe to just ignore whatever the fuck she's saying. Oh, your grounds for this deduction?
普段が目立たない地味無口キャラだから、休日ぐらいはきっと羽を伸ばしたいと思ってるに違いないのよ。だから文字通り羽をとや。
Amane, if you'd be so kind as to shut her up now.
しんどいしつけだけ母親に押し付ける父親って嫌われるよ。
I agree with that, Amane, but that is something a lot of boomers do, sad to say.
どうしましょうか、風見さん。調査するのでしたら命じていただければすぐにでも。
No, I don't think there's any reason to put your ninja skills to the test today.
つまんない。
If you want to know that badly, Michiru, go tell her yourself, one-on-one.
みちる相手だったら初手からいきなり刃物もありえるわよね。
血を見ることになりそうですね。みちる様のお体が心配ですが、自ら選んだ道でしたら致し方ありません。覚悟します。
やるっつってねえでしょ。勝手に覚悟完了すんじゃないわよ。
大丈夫。命は一つじゃない。チルチルなら3つぐらいに切られてもそれぞれが真ミチルとなって生まれ変われるのよさ。
プラナリア？ねえちょっとマキナ、あんた私をプラナリア扱いか。
Look, I'd really like to exercise at some point, if you don't mind. Yo. Later that same day. Shortly after finishing my outdoor training, I happened to be doing some cool-down exercises in the dorm lobby just as Sakaki returns. She's holding her bag in a shadow cast by her own body, as if consciously trying to hide it from view. Sorry about this morning. First off, an apology for my earlier rudeness seems called for. Sakaki offers a vague non-response, squirming awkwardly where she stands. Alright, I'll see you later. I turn away and restart my calisthenics. But Sakaki doesn't move a muscle. Sakaki? When I call out to her for the second time, Sakaki flinches in surprise, then shoots me a fierce glare.
どうもしないわ。どうもしない。
The hell? Clearly talking to herself rather than me, she stomps off in the direction of her room. Well, after Sakaki's vanished from view, I'm still staring after her. The girl might not have said much of anything to me just now, but it's obvious that she's strangely tense. Wonder if something's wrong. As I'm puzzling over the matter, a certain woman of unusual proportions appear out of nowhere.
なんかちょっと話したそうだったね、榊さん。
Amani approaches me with a knowing smirk on her face. Oh yeah? It didn't get that feeling, personally.
それはユージが基本的に鈍感なだけよ。
Rather than sitting on the sofa, Amani drops herself cross-legged onto the ground. Drawing her face close to me as I exercise, as if to give me a whiff of her perfume, she continues. God damn you, Amani! Get out of my face!
ねえ、ってどうなの？榊さんにちょっとは興味出たの？
Sorry. Exactly what in the conversation just now suggested that to you?
あるからそんな思わせぶりな態度をとってるのかと思ったのよ。あえて踏み込まず、榊さんからやってくるのを待つというか。
Really? I don't know about you, but I don't approach my relationships with other people as if they were a fish I'm trying to catch.
あらやだ、私はしないわよ、そんなこと。やるならもっと直接攻撃の方が性に合ってるわ。
Sure, but your way of thinking is also something to be careful of, Amani. True, full frontal certainly seems more plausible in your case. Sorry, I misjudged you.
半分は天然で言ってるんだろうけど、ユージって時々本当に引っ叩きたくなるわね。
Sadly, I was born this way.
にしてもさ、榊さんって本当に何してんだろうね。誰にもほとんど関わらず一人でいるし、辛くならないのかな。
I mean, I don't really care too much if she wants to live that way. Well, I guess being alone is a less painful choice sometimes.
はい、では今日はこれで終わります。
There's no way that was the end of the chain of events, right? Because that ended pretty abruptly.
起立。
The weekend behind us, we're back in the classroom. As the day's lessons reach their conclusion, Sachi leads us in the formal bow that marks the end of every school day. The weekdays are nice and simple. Given a set schedule, I can coast peacefully through it without having to worry about how I'm spending my time, or about being insulted over my lack of interests. I shoulder my bag and leave the classroom. After dropping my stuff off in my room, I find myself heading to the roof of the dormitory for no reason in particular. When I can't think of anything to do with myself, sometimes I'll search out places where I can be alone and look at the sky. I wouldn't say that I prefer solitude, but every once in a while I'm seized with the need to get a break from the clamor of daily life, which has been very noisy indeed lately. As I swing the door slowly open, I realize there's someone already on the roof. The instant I set a foot outside, she's staring at me with a slightly suspicious look on her face.
またあなたなの？
Sorry, but we do live in the same building. We're going to run into each other sometimes.
別に悪いと責めているわけじゃないけど。
So, can I come up?
私が決めることじゃないわ。
Having obtained Sakaki's assent, I stand beside the handrail and gaze up into the sky. It's a vivid shade of blue today. The sun shines powerfully down on us. I can feel heat rising off the iron railing in front of me. After a moment, Sakaki turns to me and breaks the silence.
ね
Yes?
え、ひょっとして立ったまま寝ているの？あなた。
No, I'm awake.
何も言わないから寝ているのかと思ったわ。
Would you prefer me to talk about something or ask you questions?
別にいいわ。そんなことしなくても。
I see. In that case, I guess I'll do what I feel like. Sakaki tilts her head back slightly and gazes into the sky for a long moment. Her long hair catches the sea breeze and flutters like a flag.
よくここには来るのかしら。
Why do you ask?
前にもここで会ったじゃないの。
She's surprisingly very talkative today. True, now that you mention it. I lean forward and grip the warm iron railing with both hands as I speak. Every once in a while, I guess, just to look at the sky by myself.
あなたが？らしくないわ。
It really is every once in a while. Anyway, that's the only reason I come up here.
そう。
Everyone has times when they want to be alone, right?
それは私に向かって聞いてるの？
You're too self-conscious, Yumiko. No, we're talking about me here. The sunlight today really is powerful. Very much a midsummer day. The shadow of a kite flying overhead moves slowly across the roof, wings and beak clearly defined against the concrete. As I follow the shadow's movement with my eyes, Sakaki blurts out unexpected words.
あなた聞かないのね。
About what?
私が休みの日に外で何をしているのかを。
Sakaki turns her face ever so slightly toward me as she speaks.
ああやって早朝から出て行ったら何をしているのか聞こうとするものじゃないかしら。
Yeah, I did ask, remember?
でもそれから一切聞こうとしなかったじゃない。
You told me you didn't want to talk about it, so I haven't brought it up since then.
え？
If you change your mind about that, I assume you'd let me know. I'm not looking to stick my nose in other people's business. I turn my head slightly towards Sakaki, meeting her gaze out of the corner of my eye. With the exception of when somebody wants me to. That policy isn't limited to Sakaki. I'm trying not to interfere with any of the students here more than necessary. I don't dislike any of them, and I don't have any reason to go out of my way to avoid them. But all the same, I don't have any reason to get closer to them. That said, when they're the ones approaching me, there's no need to reject them either. I don't know, I probably would, to be fair. I'm trying to maintain that subtle balance, as my master taught me. Sakaki stares steadily at my feet. Oh, sorry, at my face. See, sometimes I blank out like that. Her expression lies somewhere between puzzlement and curiosity. I don't know what's gotten her interest all of a sudden, but it's clearly different from her usual apathetic gaze. What is it? At my question, Sakaki exhales lightly and closes her eyes.
なんでもないわ。
Sakaki abruptly walks away from the railing and heads for the stairs. Halfway there, she pauses briefly and looks back in my direction.
部屋に戻るわ。
Right. At my concise response, Sakaki's expression again takes on a shade of amusement.
あなた変わってるわね。本当に。
For some reason, I get that a lot. Honestly, can't understand why. For a moment, there's a rare smile on Sakaki's face.
それじゃ。
Yeah. Sakaki opens the iron door and disappears inside the dorm. The kite I've been watching draws a lazy arc in the sky, as if to wave farewell, and then floats out of sight. The sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon as the evening approaches. I push myself back from the railing and walk slowly toward the stairs, feeling the sun-warmed concrete underneath my feet. An odd one, huh? Don't know if you're one to talk. Her hypocrisy is kind of charming. It feels like I've been lectured about drinking too much by an alcoholic. For some reason, I feel like I've warmed up to Sakaki a bit. Maybe we got more in common than I realized. Sometimes I actually do go out to the roof and look at the sky too. Pretty rare though, but I do have those days. Usually at night though, I don't like doing it in the afternoon. It's so hot. Such is the life when you're living in a tropical climate.
どこからともなくこの私を正義を呼ぶ声がする。
こっちだってば。つうか正義関係ないし。
どこ？
ここだっつの。重たかった。
あまね。どうしたのよその大荷物。
いや、調子に乗って買いすぎちゃった。
I just realized by looking at OBS again, it's almost the end of the episode. and I haven't set that stupid like and subscribe thing. So yeah, do that. Yeah, it's so weird when you don't really want to do that, but you kind of do just to remind people to do it. It's so awkward to do it.
あんたね、一人で一体どんだけ買い物してんのよ。
私一人の分じゃないってば。 マキナの分とユージの分と、あ、そうだみちる、あんたちょっと付き合ってくれない？照英さんで卵 L サイズ10個98円、お一人様1パックまで。
まだ買うの？
卵って何にでも使えるし、あると安心するっていうか、冷蔵庫開けた時卵が少ないと不安にならない？
I mean, as someone who mostly lives alone from my childhood, and when I open the fridge and there is nothing there, it's kinda... It does feel kinda lonely, but I don't think it makes me nervous.
ならないし。っていうか、なくなったら買いに行けばいいじゃない。
私はそれが嫌なのよ。食べ物はいつだって余ってるぐらいじゃないと落ち着かないの。いいから付き合ってよ。ツンデレなんでしょ？
ツンデレと卵に何の関係が？
いいから早く、タイムセールが終わっちゃう。
Just trying to manipulate you, Michiru.
もう仕方がないわね。付き合ってあげるわよ。
そう、それそれ、やっぱりツンデレってそうでなきゃね。
何よそれ。あんたツンデレバカにしてんでしょ。
してないって。うふふ。
うふふ言うな。
So, why was I seeing that conversation even though I wasn't there?
たったいまー。重たかったと
ただいまーって、ここあんたの部屋じゃないじゃん。
あれ、ユージいないの？まあいいか。みちる、そっちの袋も貸して。冷蔵庫にしまっちゃうから。
勝手に冷蔵庫まで開けてさ、なんかもう自分の部屋のノリだよね。
そう？いいじゃん、どうせろくなもの入ってないんだし。私の部屋冷蔵庫小さいんだもの。突っ立ってないで座ったら？お茶ぐらい出すよ。
あ、うん。
麦茶でいいよね。はい。
I don't know if she is naked once again in the original version, but I don't think so. I don't think I see her naked all that often.
ありがとう。っておい！
びっくりした。何よ、急に大きな声出して。
何脱いでんのよ。なんで脱いでんのよ。
2回言った。
そんなツッコミはいらん。なぜ脱ぐ？
だって帰ってきたら着替えるでしょ普通。
いや、そりゃそうかもしれないけど、ここあんたの部屋じゃないし。男の部屋に来るなり即パージってどうなのよ。
別に裸のままでいるわけじゃないし、ちゃんと私服に着替えるわよ。
いうかさ、なんでこの部屋に天音の私服があるのよ。あんたらあれ付き合ってんの？同棲してんの？なんでベッドの上にブラが脱ぎ捨ててあるの？聞きたいことが山ほどあるんだけど。
あはは、ごめんね、散らかってて。
いいけどさ、気のせいかな。ユージの私物よりあんたの私物の方が多くない？つうか、本当に何にもないんだね、この部屋。テレビもないし。
部屋を出れば目の前の談話室にテレビあるしね。私物といえばバックパックが一つあるぐらい。何が入ってるのかは知らないけど。
ねえ、こっちの部屋は？
そこは開けちゃダメよ。ユージ本気で怒るから。
なんで？
言ってみれば、その1畳半の部屋がユージの私室なのよ。
だってここクローゼットだよ。何があるの？
だから開けちゃダメだってば。それに開けても別に何もないわよ。ただの空き部屋。
本当に？
一度だけ中を覗いたことがあるけど、紙くずが散らばってるだけで何もなかったわよ。
何もないなら見てもいいんじゃない？
たとえ空っぽだったとしても、見られたくない場所っていうか、深入りしてほしくない場所ってあるじゃない？前に私が入った時、そこには入るなってすっごい怒られたもの。
何それ？
さあ、例えるならそう、携帯のメールボックスとかかな。勝手に見られたら気分悪いでしょ？
Not really. I mean, depends on what type of person you are. I personally don't think showing my messages to people that I'm comfortable with is anything of an issue. I don't really have too much to hide, to be honest, though.
空っぽなのに？
空っぽのメールボックスを見られたくないんじゃないかな。
Nope. Especially if there's nothing there, I wouldn't care at all. There must be something there if you care about it.
わけわかんない。
ユージの過去でも詰まってるんだよ、きっと。
See, now that makes a lot more sense. The way that you say that there's nothing there makes it a lot more suspicious, Amani.
はあ？
触れられたくないものって意味で。
ああ、そう言われちゃうと、まあ私にもそういう部分がないわけでもないし。
でしょ？だからそこはそっとしておいてあげてよ。ね？
分かったわよ。
そんなことより晩ご飯の用意しなくちゃ。今晩は餃子にしようと思うんだけど、みちる、あんたも手伝ってくれない？
ちょっと、あんた夕飯の面倒まで見てるの？
どうせマキナの分も作るし、手間は一緒だもの。暇なら餃子包むの手伝ってよ。
なんで餃子？あいつ餃子が好きなの？
うんにゃ？好きとか嫌いとかはあんまりないかな。何作っても食べるし。でもお肉はあんまり喜ばないわね。まあエビ餃子なら喜んで食べるかな。
私、餃子なんて作ったことないわよ。マキナに手伝わせなさいよ。
あの子、練り物系はダメなのよね。具で粘土遊びを始めるから。
じゃあサチを呼べばいいじゃない。なんで私なのよ。
たまには次女にもお料理教えてあげようかなってね。いいからこっちいらっしゃいな。
次女？
長女は料理なんてからっきしでカップ麺ぐらいしか作れないし、三女は生真面目だから教えれば覚えるけど、餃子なんか包ませたらそれこそ無限に包み続けるぐらい没頭しちゃうし、末っ子はさっき言ったように料理と粘土遊びの区別がついてないしね。
だから次女？っていうか、私って天音の中じゃ次女なのね。
ガサツだし大雑把だし、性格がねじくれててあんまり可愛くはないけれど、一番女の子らしいのは次女だと思ってるわよ。
それ褒めてるの？
もちろん。それじゃまず下ごしらえしちゃおっか。
だから私は料理なんかしたことないんだってば。
簡単だって。キャベツと白菜を軽く湯通しして、タケノコの水煮とニラを混ぜて、ひき肉の代わりにエビのすり身をつなぎにしたあんを作って、市販の皮で包んでいくだけだから。
っていうかさ、何にもない部屋の割に調理道具だけはやけに揃ってるのね。
まあね。大きいお鍋とか部屋に置いてあると邪魔なものは全部こっちに持ってきちゃってるし。
それって単純にこの部屋を物置にしてるだけじゃないの？
まあいいじゃないの。そのおかげで美味しいご飯食べられるんだから。お塩取って。
塩？塩ってこれ？
そうそれ。
なんかでっかい粒が入ってるけど、何これ？
ああ、いり米よ。乾燥剤の代わりに缶入りしたお米が入ってるの。
何それ？おばあちゃんの知恵？あまねってさ、そういうところババ臭いわよね。
なんでよ。生活の知恵ってやつでしょ。はい、ズキョーンと。
うわ、なんか意外と雑。包丁使わないの？
おバカね。毎日料理するのに手間かけてどうするのよ。家庭料理のコツはどれだけ手抜きをするかがポイントなのよ。
そんなもの？
餃子なんて難しいって思うかもしれないけど、小学生でも作れるわよ。
確かになんか簡単そうに作ってるわよね。ズギョーンって。
マキナにはいつも教えてることなんだけど、大切なのは工夫をしないこと。レシピ通りに作ればまず失敗なんてしないんだから。 初心者が料理で失敗する理由の8割はレシピを無視した工夫という名の独自解釈よ。
なるほど。
私はプロだから工夫するけどね。
何入れた？今何入れたのよ。
ああ、ウーロン茶。餃子のあんにウーロン茶を入れるとさっぱりして美味しくなるのよ。
本当に？なんかべちゃべちゃになってない？
このべちゃべちゃがええんやないの。ユージ、ウーロン茶好きだしね。
そんな理由？なんか雑。
さて、あとは包んで焼くだけ。どう？簡単でしょ？
っていうかいいの？こんな適当で。それに包むのが難しいんじゃ。
平気平気。欲張って具をいっぱい詰めようとするから失敗するんだって。具なんてティースプーン1杯分入ってりゃいいのよ。あとは指にお水つけてちゃっちゃと閉じるだけ。いいからとりあえずやってみ。そうそう、そんな感じ。表になる側をパタパタと畳んでいけばちゃんと形になるでしょ。
あ、本当だ。意外となんとかなる
でしょ。じゃあその調子で4人前で40個パッパと作っちゃおうか。
ふむふむ。これちょっと楽しいかも。サチの気持ち少しわかるわ。
おっと、長男のお帰りだわ。
長男？
おかえりユージ。遅かったじゃん。どこで何してたの？
I told you the reception on the TV in the lobby was getting bad, didn't I? Sachi and I were trying to fix the antenna. I wasn't really talking during that exchange because it was pretty peaceful for what it was. And I mostly agree with what Amane was saying about cooking and all that stuff. For some reason, it's really popular trope for girls in anime to not be able to cook. I don't know what the hell why it's so popular. It's not hard to cook.
へえ、そんで治ったの？
Yeah. Although we ended up having to replace the antenna. Look, forget me. What are you two doing in here?
見りゃわかるでしょ。晩ご飯の用意よ。今夜は餃子だよ。
I'm asking why you're doing that in my room.
いいじゃん別に。あんたの分も作ってあげてるし。
I don't remember asking for any.
でもあれば食べるでしょ。
Well, can't let food go to waste.
素直じゃないな。食べたら食べたで美味しいって言うくせに、そういうのをツンデレって言うんだよ。ね、みちる？
I know, right? I mean, Yuji is just a softie at the end of the day. I personally feel like these tsundere tropes are a bit annoying to deal with.
そっか。ちょっとユージ。
What?
別にあんたのために作ってるんじゃないんだからね。自分の分を作るついでよ。ついで勘違いしないでよね。
あんたってさ、時々自分がツンデレだってこと忘れるよね。
そんなことないわよ。
Well, fine. Try not to make too much of a mess in here, okay?
どこ行くの？
Just going to buy some oolong tea.
ああ、そろそろなくなる頃だと思ったから買っておいたよ。冷蔵庫に入ってる。
I see. Appreciate it.
ねえアマね、あんたってさ、そういうとこちゃんと年上の女なのよね。感心するわ。
何よ急に改まって。
ちょっとユージ。
Hmm? What now?
ちょっとあんた、当たり前みたいな顔してウーロン茶ゴブゴブ飲んでんじゃないわよ。分かってんの？アマネがいるおかげであんたはそうやって普通に生活できてんのよ。それを忘れんじゃないわよ。
Yeah, I guess. Can't forget that the front lines are only possible through the support of the supply units and paymasters.
またあんたはそうやってわけのわからないこと言って、本当に分かってんの？
Well, to be honest, I have no idea why you've gotten so angry all of a sudden. Sorry.
私に謝ってどうすんのよ。アマネに感謝をしなさい。アマネに。
I don't really get it, but Amani, thank you very much for everything you do, I guess.
どういたしまして？
なんであんたまで語尾が疑問形なのよ。
だって別にお礼を言われるようなことした覚えないしねえ。
It might not seem like much to you, Amani, but to certain people who feel self-conscious about never doing anything for anyone else, I expect buying some tea looks like a truly heroic act of charity.
だよもう。
What do you want from me?
あまねに感謝しなさいよもう。そんで餃子作った私にも感謝しなさいよもう。
Oh, is that all? Of course, I'm grateful to you both. I appreciate it, Michiru.
なんか納得いかないけど。まあいいわ。今日のところはこれぐらいで勘弁してあげるわよ。
Soon after, the wafting scent of frying gyoza lured Makina to my room. Sachi, concerned to find Michiru's room empty, also stopped by before long. At that point, we adopted a resolution to invite Sakaki as well, initiate an extraordinary increase in dumpling production, and engage in a gyoza pig-out party. The Mahama Female Gyoza Corps was then established under the command of Suo Mane, XO Kumine Sachi, to pursue these objectives. All members hurriedly scrapped together ingredients from their fridges. Our goal was set at 120 dumplings. The results of this emergency production varied wildly in quality. There were a number of respectable dumplings, filled with relatively appropriate things like bean jam or cheese. Bean jam and gyoza? The hell? But also some truly bizarre results, such as fish stick gyoza and winner gyoza. Soon, dozens of dumplings were arrayed in front of the hot plate. Much like the weapons brought to battle by an army on the verge of defeat, the variation was rich, if not the quality. We began testing a wide range of dipping sauces as well, leading to even stranger combinations of tastes. Fortunately, Makina quickly complained that eaten plain tastes better. The group's experimental spirit restrained at last. The gyoza pig-out party drew to a close without any major casualties. That was a pretty nice event to end it with. I like that event. But alright, I think I am going to end the episode right here. I am going to take a short break, and after that I want to bike. I'm gonna do my biking session, take a shower, and probably gonna do one more episode before the end of the day. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.